So guys, today we're talking about Soulframe, Digital Extreme's brand new game. If that name sounds familiar, it's because they're the devs behind Warframe, a very successful game that has been going on for over 10 years now, I believe, which is crazy. Soulframe, though, is their brand new game, which still has a lot of similarities to Warframe, but takes it in a completely different direction. Where Warframe is a sci-fi game, Soulframe is fantasy. Where Warframe has super fast-paced combat, Soulframe slows it all the way down. And where Warframe has these powerful frames that you can play as, Soulframe has these magical arms that give you either the powers of a specific animal or just give you general magical abilities. Now, before we get into the rest of this video, I do need to mention that this game is still in active development, so take things here with a grain of salt, as things are most likely to be tweaked and changed before the full release. With that said, let's dive into Soulframe. The first thing you're going to notice about this game is of course the visuals, and I have to say I think this is one of the prettiest games I've ever seen. To me, it's like what if Hyrule from the Legend of Zelda series took a more realistic approach and wasn't limited by the Nintendo Switch. The lush green forests that make up this world look absolutely amazing, and the random enemy camps and bases only help to make this world feel truly alive. That said, this world is quite large, and there being no fast travel or mounts in the game really does put my willingness to walk everywhere to the test. Now, I have heard somewhere that mounts might be coming, so that's a good thing at least, but I do strongly feel that a fast travel system would help greatly for those players who want to be getting through the different quests as fast as possible. Speaking about quests, how you actually unlock them is really interesting. As you might be able to tell from the gameplay, this game has a big emphasis on exploration, with you having to not only find the crafting materials for your gear, but also the different story quests as well. For example, there was one part in my play session where I was just killing nearby enemies when a wolf that I had saved prior suddenly appeared and asked me to help her save her cubs. So it seems that unlocking the different quests within this game is purely down to you walking around the map and going to specific areas. Now, this is great for those who like freely exploring massive open worlds, but as someone who also likes having a little bit of guidance here and there in terms of where I have to go next, I can see this being a turn-off for certain players. That said, in a world this vast, being able to freely explore and discover different quests on my own does offer players with a uniquely satisfying experience. Alongside this, I have to mention that although this world is huge, the systems in place to navigate the world are truly amazing. One click of a button and a small bird leads you to the quest objective. No menu navigation, just one click and away you go. And for those who hate long loading times between, say, the open world and your home base, you don't need to worry, because once again, one click of a button and you are immediately teleported to your home base, in where you are then able to freely customize your character and their abilities, craft new gear and more. And by simply hitting the same button again, you're right back to where you left off, ready to continue exploring. I cannot praise just how great of a feature this is, as one of the major issues with these open world games is having to go back to your home base and losing where you were. But here, your home base is in a way always with you, paired with super fast loading times as well, just makes it so fluid and just a truly amazing addition. I think I've talked about the world enough, let's now talk gameplay. Like I mentioned before, the combat here is a lot slower compared to Warframe, but it still has the fun combination of weapon attacks mixed with unique class-specific abilities. When you start the game, you'll have to choose between 3 packs. These are basically your classes, which will then also give you a starting weapon, set of armor, and 3 abilities. These packs will also set you on a path to unlocking a specific faction in the game as well, but we'll talk more about factions later. So once you've chosen your first pack and get your starting weapon, you're mainly stuck with just the weapon's handful of attacks. Now, most of my time was spent using the bow and arrow, and for that specific weapon type, I was able to fire a single charged arrow or shoot an arrow into the sky to then have a rain of arrows fall onto a group of enemies, which was actually really satisfying. A little later though into the game, you start to unlock your packed abilities. Now, these 3 starting packs don't really have anything too crazy, but when you start to get the animal assigned packs, this is where things start to get really fun. For example, a pack that I'm trying to get comes from that wolf that I mentioned earlier. With her packs, I'm actually able to summon my own pack of spirit wolves to help in combat, or even occasionally summon her to help defeat nearby foes. Alongside this, other animal-aligned packs will also give you similar abilities, like for the Stag pact, you'll get to summon a herd of stags to run through enemies. DE even announced recently a bear-themed pact, which we have no idea what it does yet, but I'm sure it's just as cool as the other two I've mentioned. Now once you have completed the associated quest to unlock these packs, you'll need to then craft the arm itself so you can actually use it, and if you've played Warframe, this crafting system is literally the exact same. Find the said amount of materials, then wait a certain amount of in real life hours before you can then use the thing you wanted. But this is when things then start to differ a lot from Warframe, as before you're able to actually craft the said item, you'll first need to find the crafting vendor for exploring the world, then level up with said vendor before you are then able to craft the thing you need in order to use the pact you unlocked maybe an hour or two ago. Now waiting around for the item to craft thing is very similar to Warframe, so I don't think that'll change at all. Same thing with the gathering of different materials, that I'm fine with. The thing I'm not the biggest fan of though is that I need to first find the crafting vendor on my own, then level her up to a certain level before I'm then able to craft the actual item I want to make. Now this might just be a me thing, but once I get an item in a game, having to go through a load more hoops just to be able to use it doesn't really feel all that great. Because when I got the new pact from the quest line, I was like, okay, let's see what materials I need in order to craft this thing. But then to find out that I had to craft a load of other items to then level up the vendor to then be able to craft the pact just seems a bit too much in my opinion. And this becomes even worse for those who didn't find the mini quest in order to unlock the crafting vendor. So I really do hope this gets tweaked, as for me this will get annoying really fast. Also, there being no way to track or mark on the map the different locations for said crafting materials, I think also needs to be an added feature, just to make hunting those down a lot easier. Let's now talk about bosses next. So far, with the time I've spent in the game, I've defeated a handful of world bosses alongside the stag boss that rewards you with the stag pact. And even though Soul is in the name of the game, I'm happy to say that this game is not a Souls-like. So don't come into this game expecting Elden Ring level of near impossible boss fights. Whilst the combat is similar with the parrying and dodging, these bosses aren't nearly as ball-crushingly hard. That said, they aren't cakewalks either, so you'll still need to watch out for attacks and spot openings for when you can deal massive damage. Also, the music that plays during each boss fight is really good as well, which if you've played Warframe is a given at this point. Finally, the thing that I want to talk about though is the factions. As of right now, there are currently 3 factions in the game, and depending on the pact that you chose at the start, that will determine the faction that you start out with. Now in terms of what you can do with these factions, they all have their own introduction quests that unlocks the hub for the given faction, which then will allow you to see the faction standing and the list of available rewards you can get for leveling up with that faction. And once the hub has been unlocked, some faction specific quests will then also be unlocked and visible on your map, which seems to be the only way currently to level up with that faction. Overall, this is a really good system, but the only downside is that you currently aren't able to freely change what faction you are assigned to unless you get your current faction to rank 3, and get the specific faction reward from that given rank. Only then are you able to change to a different faction. Also, I find it weird that the faction you are given at the start has on its reward track the pact that you chose at the start as well. I feel like it would make more sense for your starting pack's faction to give the other packs as a rank reward, so that you actually have a big reason to level up with that faction. Because as soon as I saw the other factions had the other starting packs as a reward, I immediately wanted to change faction so I could get those other packs. So fingers crossed this gets changed as well. Now I don't think DE has said much on the monetization front for this game, but due to it being nearly identical to Warframe, I feel like the monetization will be somewhat similar, especially because the way Warframe has done things for ages seems to be working really well for them, so why change it now? And that is everything for my first impressions on Soulframe. Overall, it's a really fun game that I am for sure going to be keeping my eyes on for any future updates, and hopefully this video was able to help inform you guys on whether you'll be doing the same. With that all said though, if you enjoyed the video or found it in any way helpful, if you could leave a like and subscribe to the channel, I'd very much appreciate it, and I'll see you all in the next one.